Hello, welcome to the official Movellas YouTube channel. My name is Stephen Camden, I'm the author of Tape, and today I'll be answering your questions. Okay, first thing that always happens for me is that it's an image, and I always imagine it in like a small, kind of like through a small lens of something, whether it be, it's a certain detail, somebody's clothes or a certain texture or something, and then I kind of zoom out and see what's there, and I keep zooming out until there are people, and as soon as there are people there's a relationship, and then I'm like, it's about that. So I guess the ideas come spontaneously or seemingly out of the blue, but then as I kind of start to craft it, it becomes clear that there was something that I was thinking about trying to say. More often than not, family or home. Okay, it varies a lot, right? I think that with spoken word pieces, more often than not, I don't write anything down until I'm happy with it. So I'm writing it with my mouth, and I'm speaking it, and I'm walking around, and I'm making cups of tea, and I am, in the shower, thinking about what I want to say and the way in which I want to say it. And the form of it is so important. It shapes what it is. You know, there are certain things that start coming out of my mouth that feel like I'm going to speak them, and if it doesn't feel right to come out of my mouth, it will become something else. And then if it's something to be written, a long time, many drafts, much longer, and a much more of a in-depth process, I think. The spoken word stuff comes quicker because it's there before I even start to write it down. My childhood was full of stories. Like my family, I come from a mixed heritage family, so my family are Irish and Jamaican, and so everybody came to Birmingham from Ireland or from Jamaica, and so in my house was just full of Irish and Jamaican people telling stories and cooking and laughing. Not much reading, if I'm honest, although my mum and my dad were teachers, but it just loads of stories, you know, and like from a very early age, loads of stories being spoken. And it's funny because I was never really conscious of it, and then the more I've been doing this kind of stuff, the more I become aware that it didn't come from nowhere. It has a real grounding in the fact that I was just surrounded by stories. First write for pleasure. I think I wanted people to think I was cool. The first thing I remember writing was a limerick, right? And I think I was in the equivalent of year 3, and I really wanted the people on my table, particularly the girl that I kind of liked, to think that I was like, wow, this guy. And I kind of remember standing up, being asking actually if I could stand up in class and speak it, and speaking it, and being really let down by the response, but not in a way that made me want to stop, but made me want to try and get better. I guess, that was the first. I guess I was 8. I guess I liked attention. Some performance stuff. I guess play. I would say don't overthink things at the beginning. I think there's I did anyway, I had a really big problem with thinking that things weren't ready or trying to craft them before they even started to get down on paper. And my philosophy has changed completely in terms of what I think paper is for. Paper is for playing around. So when I'm coming up with anything now, I get everything out, whether that be me speaking it all the time or writing things down, get everything out. Then I find what I find interesting and carry on with that, and that's when the really hard work starts. But I don't overthink at the beginning because I'm sure that it just squashes ideas. So I guess it's, never trying to be somebody else. You're allowed to be influenced, but make sure it's always your version rather than an emulation, I think. Does that make sense? We used to call it biting, or maybe they still do.
I'm just